Greetings, everyone. Welcome to the 235th session of the online Optom Learning Series, OOLS. And for today's session, we have with us Dr. Rashima Asokan. Dr. Rashima is a professor at the elite School of Optometry in India. And currently, she leads the Occupational Optometry Services and also the Vision Enhancement Clinic of Shankara Nethralaya Eye Hospital. She, along with her team, provides eye care to employees at industries and workers in the unorganized sector. And she's primarily involved in occupational eye care for the deserving group of workers among the unorganized sectors through her CSR support initiatives, which is also supported by various NGOs. Her research activities also includes work around occupational optometry, and she has been awarded various awards in terms of presenting her work and also the Best Case Report Award by the Optometry Council of India as well. She also holds grants and is a proud recipient of the Endeavour Executive Fellowship from Australia and also a competitive grant from the Glaucoma Foundation from the US. And with all that expertise, she's going to take us through how to go about putting occupational optometry into practice and how to think out of the box when it comes to seeing our patients and helping them in their occupational needs. So welcome, Dr. Rashima, onto our platform, and let me just leave the screen time to you, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Fakhruddin, for inviting me for this particular session. I'm so glad and very happy to see that you have about 235 series, which has been successfully completed. And I've been part of this today. And thank you for the introduction. And as you said, yes, occupational optometry, an emerging field of optometry now. And we thought we'll have a small discussion today about occupational optometry, how it is out of the box. Okay. So to start with, I thought we'll have a short poll about what occupational optometry is and what do I need to know. So before that, we need to know about what occupational optometry is. So choose the one which is appropriate. What occupational optometry deals with. Is it the patient who has a problem with at their workplace, or is it mainly about industrial eye examinations, or individuals to have safe and efficiency at workplace, or providing vision standards for various occupations? What does occupational optometry deal with? I'm very happy to see good responses. Nice. So most of them have, and you can even choose one or two if you want. Most of them choose between individuals to have safety and efficiency at workplace and providing vision standards to various occupations. Right. So we have got the 100% answered. So 62% choose that providing vision standards for various occupations as the main thing which an occupational optometrist deals with. Yes, you're right. Along with that, we also need to have a safety and efficiency at workplace. So what is occupational optometry is all about? Okay, that is a branch of optometric practice which is concerned with efficient and safe visual functioning of an individual at work. So what do I mean by efficient and safe? So when I'm working, I should feel more comfortable while working. I should not strain myself, not only physically, but also emotionally and socially. I should be comfortable at the workplace, right? That is what a happy workplace is all about. And efficiency will increase if you have a comfortable workplace. So that is what we are looking at. So this is not just about it is all about the environment and everything. We deal with occupational optometry. So when somebody comes to you and say that I'm a carpenter, so we just know that a carpenter just does work with wood, right? So but what does he do? Does he actually do the tables and chairs and he's actually fixing, or is he getting something and doing an assembly? We do not know what specific task he does. So that is what we have to be dealing in detail, okay? So this is mainly about knowing about a task. This is not about, in general, about an occupation. This is mainly about the task which a person does and how efficient is he at his task. So it includes the assessment of vision of a person at work, matching the visual demand of a person with the visual ability of a person. And setting up vision standards. Yes, we also set up vision standards. We're looking at whether what is a demand the task creates on a person and what is his visual ability. Is he able to perform the task efficiently without any problem, okay, without any strain on his eyes? So for which we have a 7-step approach. In the first step, what we do is a visual task analysis. So understand what a person's task is. So where does he work? How is the work environment? Is he working on comfortably on a table? Is he standing and working? Is there any hazards around him? So these are the things which we cover in the visual task analysis. And at the end of the task analysis, we identify the battery of tests which is needed so that we can measure the functions which are needed for that particular occupation. For example, a person working on a computer, we all know that definitely binocular vision has to be tested for those persons. And along with, you can also add up a questionnaire on musculoskeletal disorders, right? Because a person is going to sit at a workplace and do the work for a continuously longer time. So he might be putting a strain on his neck. He might have hand pain. He might have a wrist pain. So we can also talk and counsel about the work-related musculoskeletal disorders to these people. So it is not just about eye. I'm not only talking of a person to just look at the eyes. We talk to the person as the whole, right? We can counsel the person about their health conditions also. So for which we can actually identify what are the tests which is needed for that particular task, that we can perform those tasks and also do the counseling accordingly. So based on the test, we can actually identify what are the eye examination to be done for them, and then see whether the person's demand and the visual ability is matched. If, for example, if a person has color vision deficiency and he's working in, say, a tannery where the leathers are being produced and matched for the colors, and you know that the person has color vision deficiency, definitely he will not be an eligible candidate in the inspection section. Instead, he can be put in stores. Instead, he can be put in some other administrative sections so that he can work. He will not have any issues at his workplace. Okay. And the first approach is giving the employees the education about eye health. And next is about giving the report to the employer and then insist about the periodic eye examination. So this is a 7-step approach which we have been following in the occupational optometry. Okay, so what does this do? Does it have any impact on people? So there is a test, there is a survey which we did on the barriers in eye care seeking behavior among the, eye care seeking behavior among the people who are approaching us in the eye camp. Okay. So we found that people were a little hesitant to wear spectacles. So we asked them why. What is the reason why they are not wearing the spectacles? They said, wearing spectacle is a sign of poor vision. People might think that my vision is poor. That is the reason why I'm wearing spectacles. So they might not be giving me job. Okay. And they also said that it is actually giving a less opportunity for job. Okay, so these were different notions which came up from the people in the unorganized sector. So see how they are unaware that using a spectacle is actually making sure that the person does not strain on the eyes. So we educated them, it is not at all. So if you wear spectacles, it means that your vision is very clear. So we have actually made sure that the vision has met the demand, the visual demand which the object has created on you. So which means educating them on the need for eye examination is the first and foremost goal of any optometrist, whoever is seeing in a camp any patients. The importance of wearing spectacles, educating them was an important task. Okay, let's see different occupations in this particular session. So this is a sculptor. So you could see that he is working on big stones. He's converting that stone into a nice sculpt. Okay. So say a statue or which is kept inside a temple, which is kept outside a temple or anywhere. Okay. So his job is to convert a stone into a very visually appealing statue. So what do you think? Maybe we can run the poll here. So what do you think would be the best choice of intervention for a sculptor? Should we give them spectacles, or should we give them an RGP contact lenses, or a protective goggle, or a protective goggle with prescription? What do you think is the ideal choice of intervention for them? So 50% have answered that people would need a protective goggle with prescription and protective goggles or spectacles, but none of them are actually opting for contact lenses. So most of you actually agreed on giving the protective goggles with prescription. Yes, protective goggle and protective goggles with prescription. What is the difference here is when we actually give them with a prescription eyewear, the clarity of vision is also improved. They don't need to actually wear a spectacle and on top of it wear a protective goggle, right? So this improves their visual ability also. They are able to actually see much better when they actually look into the prescription, right? So this is a person for whom we have given us protective eyewear along with the prescription, and he was so comfortable. And he said he was able to look at the alignment. He is able to look at the symmetry of the features of the statue event. So that's the response we are looking at. So we are actually creating an impact with these people. So this is a toy maker. See, the end product is this, okay, the toy. And for which this is a workplace where we have went and inspected. So they are working on the wood. They're actually converting that wooden piece into a toy. Okay, so this is also very important that they should actually look for visual aspects, right? There is a precise vision which is needed for them. So maybe again, we can run the poll over here. So what would be the visual demand for a toy maker? So is it the fine print and alignment, or choosing appropriate color, or wider field of vision, or better depth perception? So as you all mentioned, that it is important that they have to look into the fine prints and alignment, because when you look into the toy and take the toy and buy a toy, for example, you are looking for an alignment, right? And alignment and the choice of color which is there on the toy. So definitely all the four are important for a toy maker. They have to have a good vision. They have to use appropriate color choice. And they should also have a wider field of view, because they are not constricted to look into one particular sector, because they are using wood and things and they are focusing on one particular point. You could see here, okay? He is actually focusing here, and at the same time, he is using other tools. So field of vision is also very important for him. And what next? What intervention we could actually give it for them? It's again the protective eyewear with the prescription was very helpful for these people, because they were able to see the fine alignment, and they were able to actually protect their eyes from the dust, okay, which is falling into their eyes. So this is very important. So protecting their eyes along with wearing a safety glasses is very essential in cases of occupation where it is hazardous. And now again, we'll run again a poll mainly for drivers. Okay, so driving is a very essential skill, and there are a lot of visual input for the drivers which is needed. And now, do you think is color vision a mandate for drivers? Yes, no, or partly yes, or you don't know, right? Okay. So most of you, almost 80%, closer to 80% responded as yes or partly yes. Okay, there is a controversial information which is going on regarding the need for color vision in driving, and that's the reason why I've taken this particular poll here. Okay. All right. So when you look at the visual skills for driving, yes, visual acuity is very essential. Next comes the color vision. But most of us do not talk about the other information which is needed for drivers. So it is about the depth perception, contrast, glare, and the peripheral vision. Okay. So peripheral vision is very essential, because if some vehicle is coming, they should be aware of the vehicle. Otherwise, they will actually get into meet accidents, right? Color vision, yes, this is a controversial statement which is going on now, whether a person with color vision deficiency to be given a driving license or not. So there is another rule also stating that if there is a moderate color vision deficiency, still they can actually hold a color vision driving license. Because nowadays, if you see, the signals are not just the signals, it has denotations. It has signs of whether to go on right, left, straight, and all these denotations are available. So people, even with color vision deficiency, they know about the arrow. Okay. And we did a small study to understand what are the coping strategies people utilize when they have color vision deficiency. They most of them, they said they do not actually have any issues with the signals. Even if they have any doubt, they actually follow the next vehicle, or otherwise they slow down the vehicles in these signals so that they don't meet into any kind of accidents. And most of them did not actually report any kind of accidents before. Even when they had color vision deficiency, they still hold a license. So if you're looking for driving or heavy vehicle drivers, it is essential that that you actually have these particular skills to be evaluated for them. Okay. And this is about awareness about color vision, which we actually did as a color blindness awareness day. And as I said, they had coping strategies which has been followed, and they were very happy with the driving. They did not have any difficulties. So I'm not saying that color vision should not be accounted, but just give an awareness to the driver that they have a color vision difficulty. So they should not be speed up during this when they have a signals. They should make sure that they slow down in the signals. And we also did a road safety initiatives where we educated the drivers and they became the ambassadors about the importance of vision while driving. So these people had a small sticker saying that my eyes are fit and drive safe. So these stickers were given to the people who had visually fit eyes, which means their visual acuity was better than 612. So they were given these stickers and they were happily sticking onto their vehicle, and even their passengers started asking, what is this all about? So this is some kind of initiative which we have started with the drivers so that they become the ambassadors for visual, need for visual examination. And looking at the other occupations, mainly electrical, welding, plumbing, carpentry, these are the occupations where it is hazardous and it needs importance of eye examinations. Okay, now we can again run a poll here. What are the factors which can cause accidents? What do you think are the important factors which could lead to accidents? Is it a poor lighting or housekeeping issues or human factors or having ladders or stairs at the work and working in heights, which is an important factor which could lead to accidents, right?
Almost half are saying poor lighting.
Yeah, almost half of you have said that poor lighting. But what papers have given as is the human factor as a major reason for accidents. So human factor, what I mean over here is using mobile phones while working, where the attention is, your attention is disturbed while working. These are the causes which could actually lead to accidents. Okay, so that is why if you when we go to industries, if, even in the walkway, if people are using mobile phones, they immediately say you're not supposed to use the mobile phones while walking, because you might miss out seeing the vehicles coming in and you might actually trip. Okay, so these are the reasons which could cause accidents. Many industries are very strict that they don't use mobile phones while walking, when they're crossing, when they're even inside the campus, they don't allow to use mobile phones just like that. If you're sitting comfortably and things, and you can use the mobile phones, otherwise they say not to use the mobile phones because that is going to be the major one which can lead to accidents. Okay. Yes, as you said, the next and most important issues, the housekeeping issues, wet and slippery floors and things which are the reasons for accidents. Poor lighting, yes, we always tell about the lighting and we educate people to have more lighting, but too much of light is also not good. Okay, so people will get strained. So that's the reason why we say adequate lighting is very essential when they work in industries. So when you go to big industries, they even have the natural lighting coming in, okay, because the big industries, they will have noise pollution, they'll have more of heat generated. So they'll all have very tall roofs, okay. So they'll have even the glass where the natural light could come in. So there is less usage of the artificial light source inside. So, in case of electrical things, the anticipated hazards are shocks and burns, injury from any faulty things. So, make sure that you always follow the steps when you're handling electrical equipments. Fall from ladders, that is very common with industries where they don't pay attention on safety regulations. Okay. And the other thing is about the work posture. So see here, when you're lifting objects, it is always important that you don't bend yourself. Okay, bending yourself is actually going to put more strain onto the spine, and that is definitely not a good sign for on a long run. Okay, so always sit and then lift the objects. Sitting is not sitting on the floor. You actually couch yourself and then take the heavy weight, heavy things. Okay, so don't put any strain onto the spine. So that is going to be dangerous on long run. So on to the eye, definitely penetrating injuries, perforating injuries, retinal bleach are very common in industries. So people must be aware of it and they respond. Make sure that people wear eye protective goggles in industrial sectors where you're expecting a penetrating injury. So that there is a foreign body, which is running in the environment. There is a possibility of foreign body. There is even a small dust particles which could come in. If they are using, say, large iron sheets and things, definitely people have to wear protective goggles. And if they are exposed to UV radiations during welding and things, it is important they wear a protective goggles and also use a face shield. So this is one of the interesting study which we have done along ophthalmic nurses. So you must be thinking, what is the problem with the nurses, right? So we also thought, why should we worry about nurses? Then we realized nurses have difficulty in seeing the bottle labels, because if you see the bottle labels, no, it is written very small. It is not even N6, it is sometimes N2. Okay, so it is very difficult for them to immediately identify that too, mainly in patients who are closer to presbyopic age. They find it very difficult and they usually ask their colleagues to read out what it is. So don't you think that it is very dangerous sometimes if they miss out similar medications, and it can lead to many issues later, right? And also in operation theaters, they were not able to find out the sutures and needles which are very small in size. So they usually take the help from the colleagues. What do you think is going to be a simple solution over here? It's nothing but giving them a small magnifiers, right? So having a small magnifier, just take the magnifier, read out what it is. So this was very helpful, and it was very easy for them to spot the expiry dates and things. This is a small step we did, and every other department every person in the nursing department actually appreciated this effort, because otherwise they may be taking the help from the colleagues, or they might actually have missed out many information. So it was also time saving and comfortable for them. And I'm just giving you a small case. This was in an industrial eye examination where we saw a 26-year-old female. Okay, and this was her disc. No specific complaints. Her vision was completely normal. And this is what is about her disc. Maybe we can run a poll on this as what it is. So what is your tentative diagnosis on this? What is the optic disc? Okay, optic disc bruising, hypertension, blurred disc margins, could be hyperopia. Okay. All right. So most of you actually said about blurred disc margin. So you're all agreeing that there is something which is a problem here, right?
Yeah, I'm just ending the poll and then we can see the results. There we go. Yeah.
So most of you said there is a blurred disc margin. Yes, agreed. So blurred disc margin could be actually seen in many of the conditions. And this particular lady, I just wanted to tell you, she was completely normal. She did not even think that she might be having any eye problem. Okay. Think if we as an optometrist go to an industrial eye examination and we have not done the fundus examination, this patient would have been missed. Is it not? So it is important that we do a comprehensive eye examination for patients who actually are looking for an eye examination at their workplace. So we know that the complete examination is done, and you could actually refer to the appropriate stations wherever you want, appropriate departments. Definitely, this patient needed a neuro-ophthalmic examination, and we could identify what the condition is earlier. So it is important that we do an industrial eye examination and have a comprehensive examination over there. This also was an industrial eye examination. This was a 25-year-old male who had no specific complaints, and his vision was 6/9 and 6x, right and left eye, and his intraocular pressure was 11 and 14. Maybe we can run the poll. What do you think is the tentative diagnosis for this particular condition? So I'll just move this little. All right. So you all feel because the right eye image was a bit blurred when compared to the left eye, and all of you, almost most of you agree that there is an advanced glaucoma which is present over here, because you could see that there is a large cupping which is present. Okay, though the intraocular pressure was normal, there is a large cupping which is present with superior thinning in the right eye and inferior slope in the left eye, which is definitive of a glaucoma, which the patient immediately needs a glaucoma consultant opinion, right? So this particular patient who did not have any specific complaints, if you have checked only the vision and refraction, this particular patient also would have missed. So seeing this patient at a very early stage, at 25 years, we are seeing this particular patient and see the life years you have saved. Okay, the productive years has been saved here because the appropriate intervention at the right stage is what we are looking at. So industrial eye examination, whenever we are going into it, make sure that you do a comprehensive examination so that we don't miss out any patients with any small, even a small pathology. Okay. So what are we looking at in industries or even a general examination is mainly the cataract, diabetic retinopathy, and glaucoma. So these are the major ocular problems we are being screening for. And what next we have to be looking at in industries is mainly look at the ocular injuries, whether the person has been exposed to the region or the environment where they're prone for ocular injuries. Look at eye strain, whether the person has been working for a longer hours and they are into eye strain. And also about the musculoskeletal disorders, which is actually coming up more with industries where the patients are sitting for a longer time and working. So these are three other important factors we have to be screening in case of industrial eye examinations. So way forward, how do I incorporate occupational optometry into my practice? So having said the 7-step approach, looking for a different angle, make sure that you do a comprehensive eye examination. It is important that we incorporate these into our practice. There is nothing new. Whatever we have learned, we are seeing from a different angle. That's it. So in case of organized sector, we can be in a position to choose the right person for that particular job. Okay. So right person for the right job is what we are suggesting here. So as I said, the example about the person with color vision deficiency, he cannot be put into the inspection sector. Instead, he can be put into stores or administrative sector. So choosing a right person for the right job is what is important. And we should be knowing about the hazards. Okay, so looking at the atmosphere, looking at the environment, what are the hazards the person can be put across? So if it is known, we can actually eliminate the hazards wherever possible, or otherwise suggest them some control measures so that the person is not at risk for any ocular or even general health hazards, right? And most important now in this particular generation is looking for the non-communicable diseases such as diabetes, hypertension, and heart diseases, which are actually alarmingly raising now. So when we are examining, we can also look for the changes because of diabetes, hypertension, and things in case of organized sector. And we can also be a part of the medical monitoring, which is mainly looking at preservation, prevention and protection, and promotion. So what is these three important factors all about? Preservation is looking at when the person is coming into the industry, what is his general health condition? What is his ocular health condition? Is he properly placed for the right job? And then next is prevention and protection. What I mean over here is periodical monitoring of the person for example, if a person is coming to an industry where there is a petrochemical industry, he is going to get exposed to the solvents, which can actually go into the blood. And it is important that it is being monitored regularly. And if any, for example, any measures are being increased in their blood sample, he should be made aware of it, and there should be an switching over. Okay, so there is a rotational postings which are available for people in industrial sectors, mainly the petrochemical industries. And we should also be educating people about lifestyle changes and tackling non-communicable diseases. So these three factors, the preservation, prevention and protection, promotion, these three important factors has to be incorporated in our practice when we are going to industries or even in unorganized sectors. Okay, this is one of the industry where we went and did our task analysis. They were using microscopes to examine small chips. Okay, and this is the type of scratches which is being seen on the spectacles. Okay, maybe you can run the poll here. I just wanted you to see, this is the type of scratch which is seen onto the spectacles. And what do you suggest for this particular patient? All right. Okay. Of you have responded stating that you can give a starch-resistant eyewear. Yes, that was possible to give a starch-resistant eyewear. But the wear and tear is also has to be mentioned here, because not everybody would be in a position to afford for a scratch-resistant eyewear. And in the industries, they are not going to actually give the spectacles for the employees, right? So it is, the cost is over the employee. So when we give a recommendation to the industry, it is, you should be looking from the employer point of view also. So what if I incorporate in the workplace, the employees will be happy? That should also be looked at. So giving just an idea of attaching a rubber sleeve over the microscope, even if the spectacle is going to hit on the microscope and is going to hit on the rubber sleeve, it's not going to create scratches onto the spectacles. Okay. So this was one of the suggestions which we had recommended, and the people over there were also very happy. And I just wanted to highlight here, do not use spectacles while microscope is not at all an option. Okay, so we should make sure that people use their appropriate refractive correction so that they do not have any eye strain and they're not going to make any errors. And using a handheld device and examining a chip is very, very difficult and cumbersome. It's going to put a lot of pressure onto their neck, so which is not advisable. So best option is to use a rubber sleeve. And if the patient can afford, they can definitely go in for a scratch-resistant eyewear. Right. In the unorganized sectors, there are multiple unorganized sectors. Almost 92% of the working group comes under unorganized sector. If we could actually join together and screen these people so that we can identify the ocular problems at a very early stage, not only the ocular problems, even the non-communicable diseases at a very early stage, then we will be in a position to reduce down the visual impairment rates in our country. Okay, so this is what I am just urging to every one of you. And in our sector, in our department, we have covered about 17 districts in Tamil Nadu, where we were able to go around and look at different occupations in each district, because all the districts are not the same. They have a specific group of occupations which has been prevailing in those sectors. We've been identifying the visual demands for each occupations and provided them the interventions wherever possible. And we have also looked at collaborating with the like-minded institutions like Manipal, Achyuta Eye Care, and with the help from Optometry Council of India, we had a joint proposal, and we did a screening for farmers. And you see, the farming is not similar within different states, right? So in Tamil Nadu, it was mainly about rice and paddy, and in Manipal, it was more of Erakanat. Okay, so sugarcane farming was also present in Tamil Nadu. So we did for different farmers what were the problems which they have in the eye, and we also provided them with safety eyewears. They were very, very happy because while farming, they had a fear that the spectacles will fall down because they have a different I mean, physical factors here, right? They were bending, they were using tools where it is very difficult for them to use along with spectacles. So we just gave them a headband where the spectacles could be tied upon to the head. So their fear of fall of the spectacle was completely eliminated, and they were very happy using that. Another occupation is the salt pan production, where it was very, very difficult to stand in that pain. Okay. So it was having high reflections of UV radiation, and people were really struggling there. And they had a lot of ocular surface pathologies like pterygium, pigmentula, and eye irritation because of the salt. So we just gave them a spectacles with photochromatic. So whenever they were outside in the field, they were having a complete protection with UV radiations from the photochromatic lenses. So this was a study which was supported by a CSR fund, and they were very happy using it. And we are covering almost many of the salt belts in Tamil Nadu. We also looked at fishermen, where we just wanted to know how fishing is done. We did a task analysis, went along with the fishermen in the boat, looked at how they were doing the fishing. And we also took with us different type of filters, asked them to wear the filters and tell them like which one was more comfortable for them, which is actually reducing the glare. And also were having a visual comfort. Okay. So this was tested, and most of them preferred a green filter, and we have prescribed them with a green filter. They were very happy with that. And with all the informations, we also approached Department of Health Research for the grant to looking at the pollution and its impact on the eye. So that was also been funded by the Department of Health Research of India. So so you must be thinking that these are things which optometrists have done, but it has actually had a greater public health impact. So this was also been awarded. We also, in the COVID time, we also looked at whether there is a change in work pattern for people during COVID time, because you all know that we were all doing a work from home pattern, and even this online education boomed up only during the COVID time, right? So we looked at whether they had any visual discomfort, and also work-related musculoskeletal disorders were very high during the COVID time because they did not have a proper work room, right? The proper workplace was not there when they were working in home. You all know that you might sit on a bed or a couch, or even say you may sit on a sofa and then working on when you were working with the working at home. And we could also see that people who did not have any such symptoms previously, almost 45% of the people had these symptoms only during the COVID time, because they adopted this different kind of work culture during that COVID time period. So we also sent a small poster to the people who had responded on preventive measures from eye strain, and also few exercises which they could do it when they are working. So this was like the results from the survey. We created a poster and we sent back so that it was a reciprocation of their participation in the survey. So this was also published. So way forward in the clinic, what you have to do is don't just stop with the clinical evaluation. Ask for more details about the ADL and about the occupation. Okay, which means don't just say that he's an engineer. There is a large field of engineers. Okay, you need to ask more in detail about the task which they do. Is it a more of a supervisory role? Is it more of a desk-related work? Is it more of a field-related work? So what kind of work they do? So based on that, we can actually give them the interventions. So each question, whatever comes to your mind, say that if somebody faces a difficulty at the workplace, you can actually convert that as a research question and then do a research study. And whatever outcome it comes from that research study can be implemented back in the clinic. Community, definitely every one of us should be a part of the community activities, create an impact to the public health. So to conclude, understand each person's occupation, explore more about their ocular and visual health issues from each occupation. If possible, do a small study which could actually have a good outcome, and you could put that outcome back to the clinic and serve more people on it. So we did not need to wait for the funding, because every small idea, we will have an answer for those ideas. We can actually test run whether the idea works in these small group of people, and then you can expand it for a larger group. So we also have a certificate program in occupational optometry. If you want to know more about it, you can join us. We can actually deal in more details about health and safety at workplace in these programs. And I also invite you for the international conference. We are going to host it in August 2025, where we will have more of opportunities for you to present your work. So definitely, if you have some research ideas, mainly on occupations and work-related issues, and you have got some innovative ideas which actually had an impact onto the people, definitely write that as a report and submit it across. This is my team, and I thank you for OOLS for giving this opportunity to present our work. And I'm just taking forward that this optometry community also convert yourself into occupational optometrist and work towards the betterment of people's life. Thank you so much, and I'm open to any questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rashima, for sharing the exciting work which you and your team has been doing. And I think this is a really important part because we are all seeing patients, and just adding this factor of helping them in their workplace would be something which will, make a larger impact on all patients' life. I mean, we can be the best clinicians, but knowing what is their need is really very important. So thank you so much for guiding that path for us today. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I have my email ID written over there. And if you have any queries in taking up that to a next level into occupational optometry, please do write to me. If I could help in that angle, definitely I would do it.
Sure. Thank you so much. So I think one of the questions which came up in the early of chat, I think this was directed to me, but I'm just going to ask you. You did mention about the approach in the industrial eye examination. So somebody wanted to know, do you also include binocular vision assessment in that particular section? I mean, you did mention about ocular health, refractive status, and vision assessment, but somebody was also wanting to know, do you also include binocular vision there?
Yes. So I was mentioning about the identifying the battery of tests, right? So when I go to a workplace where they are looking at the tannery, so it is mainly to look at the color shades, right? So I would include color vision test over there. I don't need a binocular vision test there. But if I'm going to an industry where they are mainly working with systems and in different distances, definitely binocular vision plays an important role. Basic binocular vision assessment will be a part of the battery of test, which has been accounted here. So for each industries, we do a task analysis first so that we know what type of test to be incorporated in the comprehensive eye examination. So that will be added to that industry. So it's completely tailor-made for the industries. It is not a single examination for all the industries.
Right. Yeah. And I think you also did mention about the importance of assessing the visual field as well. So what kind of visual field assessment do you normally prefer to do? I think Dr. Prema is asking about the use of tangent screen and any experience on that you would like to share in the occupational science.
Right. So when we go to industries, another big issue is the space which they are going to give it for us for eye examination. They might think that we are just going to do an eye examination. They will just give a small room for us. But that is not going to be sufficient for us when we have a lot of battery of tests to be covered, right? So when you do a tangent screen, again, the space is going to be a constraint. So we are not actually using a tangent screen in occupational setup. What we actually do is only a confrontation to grossly identify what the visual field defect is. In case of central visual issues, we also do an Amsler test. Okay. But we are looking at head-mounted perimeters, visual field test, assessment test with the head-mounted tools, which could be used in industries. We are actually exploring that options now. So that we could do a complete visual field assessment also there and then refer the patients to the ophthalmologist. So that has also been explored now.
Right. Yeah. I think space is something which is always of a concern because it's not just the size, but also the the lightning conditions.
Lighting,
Because some of
yes.
the tests you need to do it in a moderately room light. Some of the tests you need an adequate light. So probably scouting out the center a day or prior ahead would be something which you can look at and see what tests you could include in those settings, right? Yeah.
Right, right, right. So we also refer these patients when we feel that they need a visual field test and other OCT or any other diagnostics. We refer them back to our department. If the patients are able to come to our department, well and good. Or otherwise, we make a call and just remind the patients to go for any ophthalmologist and get these things done. And we will definitely write in that they have to get their OCT, visual fields, and everything, and not just go into the next clinic where the same set of tests is being covered. Okay. So we educate the patients about the importance of other diagnostics which has to be done. And most of the patients call back us and say that they have done this. And yeah, thank you so much that you have identified us in a very early stage. So I'm going for the treatment now.
Correct. Yeah, yeah, that's very rewarding as well. Yeah. The other question was, what's your take on putting these occupational optometrist services into the setting which we already are? Do you have any key, probably some key tips on what an individual could recommend to the management or to the higher authorities to kind of allow us to do these services? Any tips on that?
Thanks, Funny Krishna, for this question. I really wanted this particular question to be taken up because people think that optometrists are mainly there for performing the refraction and providing them the spectacles. We should actually tell them that that's not the only forte what we have. So we can actually go to the industries where the employees are present. They cannot take a leave and come to the hospital and sit the whole day. So instead, when we go over there, we are going to see in a day, say 100 employees. We are going to screen 100 employees in a day. So in a day, we are getting 100 patients. Okay. Even if we have a referral of, say, 10 patients, those 10 patients are going to come back to us. Okay. So say a group of 5 to 6 optometrists going out of the hospital, go to the industries. Those six people are away from the hospital. Yes, agreed. But the 6 people are going to see 100 patients. And the 100 patients are being paid to us. Okay, we are not going to do the service free of cost to the industries. The industries will take their money from the employee welfare and they will pay us. Okay, and
Yeah.
I also personally insist on optometrists not to do a free eye examination in industries. Please do not accept for free eye examination because our professional charges has to be taken care. Okay. I'm 100% okay for doing in the unorganized sectors. Yes, they cannot pay. They are actually taking a very meager amount as their daily wages. So we don't need to charge them. But to the industries, definitely, they can actually take care of their employees. We need to actually talk to the HR and tell them about the importance of eye examination and quote these kind of examples which actually changed an employee's perspective. So they will definitely agree on it and we can actually cover many people. So 100 people in a day, 10 referrals back to the hospital is definitely a revenue, right?
Right.
So
I
you
think
can
we
convince
need,
that way, Krishna.
yeah, we need to work our battlefield in a way that how you're going to play around with the numbers and also things like adequate planning and making sure that
Management
your
is definitely
professional
going to look
time.
for revenue. So you need to
Definitely.
play that number game over there.
Correct. Yeah. And since we are on the topic of industry, any thoughts on what is the effort by the employer these days on providing eye screenings? I mean, what are the employers doing? Is it getting more, organized in a way that they have these facilities for the workers, or not yet? Or what's your thoughts? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, few of the industries they still have a mandatory health examinations as a protocol. Okay, so like they have the audits, and in that they have a mandatory health examinations. And few of the industries where the hazards to the body is going to be high, it is important that they do the health examination for the employees, and they have to submit that record for the audit. So it is mandatory for many of the large scale industries. So in that, in the health sector, eye is also one of the component. So when we talk to management of the industries, we will tell them about the importance of eye screening and how this is going to improve their productivity by increasing the, just tell them about how the interventions of the eye care would actually improve the productivity. If
Right.
you talk to them about the productivity, they'll be very happy. They'll take it up. Okay, so the productivity is the key over here when we talk to industries about eye examination. So
Yeah.
employee welfare and healthcare productivity. So these are three important key factors which you need to talk when you're talking to the HR.
Yeah. And the other question I think is focusing more on the use of instruments and particularly here for IOP measurement, I believe. So, are there any thoughts which you can share with us about the use of adequate instruments in screening? The question here is for IOP, but if you could share a little bit more on the instruments as well.
Definitely. So most of the, when you go out of the hospital, it is important that we have all non-contact procedures so that we are also safe. We are also not putting any thing for the patients. So patient safety is also a concern over here. In that case, all are non-contact, including the tonometer is non-contact. You need to, if you have an autorefractor, it's well and good. You can, speed up the process. Right, so we have an autorefractor with an autokeratometer. Then we have a non-contact tonometer that is from the pulsar non-contact tonometers. We prefer a tabletop than a handled because our ergonomics is also very important. Our physical health is also important. When you see about 100 patients holding the pulsar in the hand like this, you're going to put a pressure onto the neck. And at the end of the day, you might become sick. Okay. So I always prefer to have tabletop devices, the non-contact tonometers, non-mydriatic fundus camera and things. So yes, it is going to occupy some spaces and beforehand tell the industry that I'm going to carry all these equipments. And they will also be very happy seeing nice fancy equipments into the industries, and employees also give a very good feedback that they had a comprehensive eye examinations. But the only thing what we have to be focusing on is complete history, including the occupational history, good refraction, have an AR, and definitely do a subjective acceptance, and then go in for the endpoint should be the best so that you give the best to the patients. And basic binocular vision kit, then non-contact tonometer, handle slit lamp, and non-contact, non-mydriatic fundus camera. This is what we carry as a package with us whenever we go to industries.
Right. Yeah, I think that really covers the entire battery of tests we would like to see in a comprehensive eye exam. And you did mention the importance of referral. So if you find anything, you also do a proper referral channel, either for further pharmacological, treatments,
Yes.
or for surgeries, or for other further tests. So that's also
Yeah.
possible.
I also wanted to add here, referral here means to the appropriate department. You need not be saying or marketing about your hospital and compel the patients to come only to your hospital. That is not a goal. Okay. As an optometrist, we should be making sure that they go for the further examination. We're not marketing our hospital. We are only telling about the diagnosis for the patient. So we should be very, very thorough in our knowledge and skills of diagnosing a condition and talk or counsel in a way that the patients get the confidence in you and they go for their examination. So if you are very confident and they feel that, no, I want to come to your hospital only, definitely make an arrangement and make a quicker appointment for those patients so that they get a fast forward entry to the and meet the doctors. Okay. So they are going to actually refer few more patients to us. So in a way, it should be a hidden marketing and not a direct marketing about the hospitals. So that is a small advice I would say that for a younger generation to do it.
Right. Yeah. And I think one more question, we will take it up in terms of the personal protective equipment kind of thing, where people usually are not aware or they don't have the access of the PPEs appropriately during the working environment. Any suggestions on what can we do for probably building awareness and making sure that it is being used? So, any thoughts over the use of PPEs?
Okay, so when I said about the industries, I said that you have to talk to the HR, right?
Yeah.
So in industries, they also have kind of a medical officer. if they do not have a medical officer, the HR plays a very important role. Okay, talking and convincing a HR is very important. And they also have somebody called as an occupational hygienist or an environmental specialist also in industries. Okay, so these three people are very the key people to whom you need to convince. So you can talk to them about the importance of when you see the environment and you feel that there is a lot of foreign body injury which is possible, and you can probe them about the incidence rate of foreign body injury in their factory. If you know about that and you convince that, see, there is an importance of using a PPE and also monitoring about the usage of PPE. Okay, so insist that to the HR and the environmental specialist so that they will have a frequent rounds in the shop floor so that they will make sure that the PPEs are worn, and tell them about the need for procuring the right PPE. Okay, so for safety glasses, what we advise is the Nova safety glasses to industrial sectors. So you can actually procure it or give them a sample set and tell them that you can directly make an order to them, or make sure that these sturdy frames are being used by the employees. So they should be using only those specific type of PPEs in their workplace, which is sturdy enough and it is not going to be harmful, and they should feel comfortable using those PPEs.
Yeah, right. I think it's more like the holistic approach on everybody should be involved. Like we can't just tell to the patients or to the
Yes,
workers directly. They would probably want to wear, but if there is no access to it, I think the
yeah.
other
So
divisions which you mentioned plays a very important role. Yeah,
it is also mandatory that the employer provides the PPE. So
correct.
the employee will not buy the PPE because they will think that why should I afford for it? So usually it is a rule that the employer provides the PPE to the workers. And it is a rule that the employer makes sure that the PPE is owned by the employee, because if there is any mishandling or anything happens, there is a compensation which the employer has to pay to the employee. So
Correct.
if there is
Yeah,
a PPE being owned, the compensation is going to come down also, right?
yeah,
And other way around is if the PPE was given and the worker is not using it, and he can actually claim that because he was not using it, that's the reason why the accident happened, and the compensation can also be cut down in that way. Okay, so
right.
legal complications are also present in these cases.
Correct. Yeah. So I think the bottom line is we need to have a team talking to each individuals rather than just, it's not just the eye examination alone. Of course, plays an important part of this occupational optometry services, but talking to HR, talking to the environmental hygienist in the industry which you're going in plays a really important role on educating them as well on what is available and how to go about this. So yeah, that is really
Exactly.
important. Yeah. Wonderful, great. So I think with that we have taken, I think most of the questions which did pop up on the chat. Thank you so much, Dr. Rashima, for doing this session and kind of enlightening us with the importance of this subject. I think this is something which is very important for all our patients when we see them next. So thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us today.
Thanks a lot once again for the opportunity given, and I'm so happy to see many of the participants are still there and actively ask questions. I hope I'll be definitely waiting for the feedback of the session. Thank you
Yeah.
all, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So till then, take care, be safe, and bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye.
Bye.